Welcome to another installment of Deck Building Shenanigans. You're watching the Wondercat channel. Today we are going over, surprisingly, another purple-red deck, but it is by no means relevant to our Skybinders list we previously covered. If you couldn't guess by the title of the video, we're going over an Emperor-Terrasaurs list using the big bad of set 1 Giganorex. This was requested, and after looking over a few iterations and some testing, I'm pretty happy sharing this list with you guys. So as stated in my red tier list video, Emperor Beasts don't have a lot of going for them in terms of deck power. Both X-Res are pretty garbage, all things considered, though Thunder Leon is at least decent into token lists. And so we have to lean on Giganorex to make use of them. With that said, we're going to be playing the full playset of him. Whilst not a full Emperor Beast, he does double the amount of reduction off both Terrasaurs and Emperor Beasts you control, allowing a fast run and gun playstyle. This is what led the deck's success in set 1's meta, with Over-Raptidon and Bearded Eagle creating explosive hands and quick games. Now, we can't play Over-Raptidon, but we can still run the playset of Bearded Eagle. A 3-cost 3 reduction spirit with solid stats is nothing to scoff at, and it's on theme with our archetype, so of course we run the playset. Dino Tyrannoid also makes its set 1 resurgence, as it's still a great turn 1, turn 2 spirit, giving a solid body with only itself for another spirit on board. Very often, 2 copies of Dino Man together can pressure a board early and is of course a Terrasaur, so we run the playset too. Creeping into the niche and spicy part of the list, we played 2 copies of Flame Rat. It saw a small amount of success in older red lists, and this card can be a sneaky card draw engine starting as early as turn 1 if you're going second, and your opponent doesn't stick a spirit down. The iconic insert random 4-drop Nexus here and pass means that Flame Rat can easily be juiced up to 3 cores on your first turn and start generating value. Now, something you probably haven't seen in any other list before, and you've probably thrown away countless copies of this card in your bulk. We're going to be running 2 copies of Lamp Gore. What a choice. And you'll see why later down the line. Obviously, it's another Emperor Beast card, and whilst it's not super aggressive itself, the 2k boost to everything on attack by discarding a red card is actually not that bad. We are probably never putting it to level 2 for Confront, so we're running it for the board-wide boost, which comboing with Volcanic Canyon gives us plus 3k to everything during your attack step, which is a nice touch. Now, finally, we get into the purple side of our spirits. We're playing a playset of Crimson Knight, a 3-drop with 2 reduction, 1 of each color, isn't super great, but it's fine, and Curse at level 1 with relevant archetyping. This card will also create early game pressure and helps fix our reduction for the bigger purple stuff. Nothing too special about it, all in all, just, yeah, solid card. As I was building the list, however, I did do some testing hands, and I realized just how bricky this next card was, so it was slowly cut from 4 copies down to 2, and that is Mr. Dentus, our favorite dentist. As an immortal target, the list has plenty of ways to get him to grave, like using Lamp Gore's effect to later recur him off the likes of Flame Rat, Dino Man, Bearded Eagle, and Crimson Knight dying. That's a total of 14 targets in the 3-drop slot alone. The Dentist does, however, leave a sour taste in your opponent's mouth, giving one of our Shadow or Terrasaur spirits a beefy plus 5k boost and Confront when he's destroyed at any level. Luckily, Crimson Knight being a Shadow spirit adds him to the list of targets. The chain effect to mill 2 and draw a card is also a nice bonus, but isn't the end-all be-all of him dying. The list also plays 2 copies of Tyrantosaurus as our other top-end boss monster. The deck doesn't actually want its spirits to die too often. If you haven't guessed so far from this list, it's a very aggro-inspired deck, with a large amount of reduction trying to end the game as fast as possible. Tyrantosaurus definitely does this, but isn't nearly as relevant to our game plan. Its ability, however, to steal a life from the opponent if it destroys an opponent's spirit basically means it's always dealing 1 on a swing, so we have to run a couple of these. It's a solid card to pitch early with Lamp Gore and with our other discard outlets like Canyon. Its level 3 effect to refresh itself too also adds a ton of pressure to the card, which is why I've always been so high on it. Note that the card summoning itself from grave, destroying a 3-drop, also allows us to summon Dentus from the grave as well, which is a nice little interaction. Dentus, of course, being able to recur himself too through Immortal when Tyrantosaurus dies is another fun interaction the cards have together. To finish off the Spirit section, we're going to be running 4 copies of one of their newer promos, Venom-Raptor. This card looks a little underwhelming, but I think I've created a list in which this card's ability can really shine. A 4-drop with 3 reduction, decent BP thresholds, and once again dual typing reduction means this card can be played quite aggressively. Its ability to basically remove a blocker from a single combat is actually a recurring theme in this list and one that we will go into more depth shortly. This card will also shine in any Awaken list, being able to shimmy your Soul Core from one spirit onto another, essentially triggering this on every swing. Sadly, only one single spirit exists currently that is either a Pterosaur or an Emperor Beast and has Awaken at the moment. That is Sayamangas, which is basically just Caesar from Planet of the Apes screaming no in its art. I'm aware it's just more akin to a howler monkey doing his howl, but the connection's definitely there for me anyway. The list could use Siamangus if you wanted to throw a couple of copies of him in, between him having 0 purple reduction, not offering purple reduction, and not being able to trigger dentus. I just didn't see enough value in running it. Hopefully in the future we do get another Emperor Beast or Pterosaur with Awaken, because it will significantly raise the power level of Venom-Raptor in this list. Our Nexus package isn't all that big. We run the always necessary 4 copies of Canyon. The card helps us filter through our deck. We play purple, so naturally we generate more value off being able to discard things to grave than the regular mono-red deck. We also run 2 copies of Great Desk Mountains. Now this card could definitely be bumped up more if you wanted to play more copies of Caesar, but we throw this in as a cheeky 2-of for its level 2 effect. It is basically copies 5 and 6 of Venom-Raptor, but now triggers on any spirit with a single core, not just the Soul Core user. What this means is with both these effects on board, we basically get to Thorn Prison every turn for free, removing 2 spirits from combat or being able to block minimum, as long as they're under 7 cost. Lampger, Venom-Raptor, Crimson Knight, and Dino Man all generate solid value being at 1 core, so it seems like a pretty solid deal throwing this in. I ran this card in set 2 with great success as a tech card in yellow, making the deck much harder to block going wide with all their spirits on 1 core, and with the addition of Joker was incredibly fun to toy with. The magic package for this list isn't anything too exciting outside 1 card, which I'm going to leave till last. We're going to be playing 4 copies of Starblast Draw because red likes card draw, and why wouldn't you want to pay 2 cores to draw 4? 4 copies of Dino Reborn because we pitch cards to the grave a lot in this list, and the potential pay 1, draw 2. Recycling a potential 1 of 20 targets in the list isn't a bad deal. Whilst I don't think we're going to be paying 1 for it consistently, I still think being able to use it to buff things up in a pinch, it's fine either way. We run the single copy of Volcanic Break because we don't care much for the Soul Core, and it's still just a solid removal spell. I've been super frustrated lately playing against Water Spout, as I've noticed a lot of spirits like to sit on that 5000 BP threshold, so Volcanic Break getting over that and hitting 6k is just as strong, so we're going to play it when we can. We also play 4 copies of Ice Shield. I was really mulling over whether or not I wanted to play Ice Shield in this list. I had only decided to add it in due to the overwhelming thought of removing all these blockers from combat, swing, and getting blown out by Ice Shield. So the only way to counteract it is with our own. This allows us to basically replay our last turn again, hopefully without our opponent drawing into another Ice Shield, and finishing them off with all our unblockable goodies. If you don't own Ice Shields, feel free to add Caesar into this list and maybe another copy or 2 of Great Desk Mountains for more unblockable shenanigans. And of course, the last card of the deck, and one you would probably never expect, is the GOAT. Multiple cores. And this seems like a bit of a joke of a card, and it sort of is until you understand just how interesting it is in this deck specifically. Due to the large amount of reduction, we can go incredibly wide, incredibly fast. Depending on our matchup, we may need to stick multiple cores onto our early spirits so that they aren't blown up by the likes of purple's core removal or yellow's BP lowering. Multiple cores is also an interesting check protection into the likes of Ironova, being able to tap them down on summon so that they're unable to attack on the turn they're summoned. The ability to ramp a core on a spirit as well allows us to go wider a bit faster. This card also works amazingly well turn 1 if you're going second with Flame Rat. Being able to swing with 3 cores on him, hopefully drawing a card, then paying the 2 cores on him if we get it to trigger, and tapping down something entering. Worst case scenario, Beldegor comes in, blows him up, but at that point we would probably just leave multiple cores face down in the burst. Blue runs the like of Pollen, which does this particularly well into essentially removing Pollen's ability to free swing for the turn, though it will refresh itself at the level 2, level 3 mark. Ava 1 attack is still played often in most purple cores as a cheap draw 1 on summon and can be locked down for the turn with this cute little tech card. Another all-star in purple, or a Borsha, this card stops it from being able to attack and trigger its aristocrat-esque style of destroying things in combat to benefit off of and trigger all its immortal targets in grave. While the card may be slowish in the first turn or 2 without Flame Rat, the large amount of red reduction we have will have it online by turn 3. All in all, I imagine this deck to be super in your face. Its heavy aggro style, balls to the wall type of game plan leaves your opponent very little time to form their own. It more or less ignores your opponent's board state and says, you're going to need to go faster than me if you want any chance in beating me. And with our ability to remove blockers every turn and swing for free between Venom Raptor, Tyrannosaurus, and Great Desk Mountains, the deck seems to be pretty solid. This deck is also a shining example of what was previously reiterated on my red tier list video. Pterosaurs have great support cards, and while this is a Pterosaur Emperor Beast deck, the Emperor Beasts certainly only support the Pterosaurs themselves. I feel like I'm really starting to get the hang of making these videos now, at least in the way that I am making them. And I actually fiddled with the mic a bit prior to making this video, so hopefully there isn't so much background noise in this one that's as noticeable as what there was in the past. I do live very close to a main road, so it can be hard finding time to record without any sort of outside interference. But yeah, with all that said, I hope you guys liked it. I'm definitely trying to create more entertaining decks that will entice players to build something different to take to their events, even if playing casually as well. One of the most exciting things about playing new card games is seeing decks evolve, and with each new release being able to craft new and interactive decks that can grow with you as a player. This deck having a set 1 shell and being upgraded by so many set 5 cards is just proof of that fact. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Do it for your Dino Pterosaur boys. I'll be releasing the rest of the archetype list content soon, so keep an eye out for that too. But until next time, look after yourself. Ta-ta.